This is quiz 12 and a bunch of derivative problems to calculate. So the first one, we have to find the derivative of the function f of x equals square root of x times sine x. And almost always when you have the square root of x, you need to rewrite that as x to the 1/2 so that you know how to deal with it. And so this is obviously a product, so we're going to use the product rule. So the derivative is the first, which is x to the 1/2, times the derivative of the second. Derivative of sine is easy enough, it's cosine, plus the second, that's sine of x, times the derivative of the first, and that's just 1/2 times x to the minus 1/2. And that's about it. I mean, you could play all kinds of algebra games, but this is about as simple as you need to be on a test. Okay, next problem, find the derivative of 2 secant x minus cosecant x. So here you have to remember the derivatives of the trig functions. So if this is y, then y prime is just going to be the derivative of the secant. The 2 is just going to stand there. So the derivative of secant is secant of whatever times the tangent of whatever, secant tangent. And then the derivative of the cosecant is minus cosecant cotangent. We're already got a minus here, so that's going to change that to a plus. So it's minus cosecant cotangent. So cosecant cotangent. And that's good enough. Okay, number 3, we want the derivative of this function, f of t is cotangent t over e to the t. And I don't see much help for this. We've pretty much got to use the quotient rule. Now there is another way to do this. I'm not going to do it this time, but if you'd rather, you could write this as cotangent t times e to the minus t, just using some algebra tricks. And then you would use the product rule instead of the quotient rule. But we're going to do it with the quotient rule because it's kind of obvious. I'm sure that's what almost everybody would have done. So the derivative is given by the denominator, e to the t, times the derivative of the numerator. The derivative of the cotangent is minus cosecant squared, minus cosecant squared of t, because that's the independent variable in these problems. Denominator times derivative of the numerator minus the numerator, cotangent t, times the derivative of the denominator, that's easy, e to the t, and all of that is divided by the denominator squared. So that would be e to the t squared. So e to the t, I'm going to simplify that in one step. E to the t quantity squared would be e to the, multiplying the exponents, you get 2t. And this we should see if it might simplify just a little bit. It's pretty clear to me that you could factor out an e to the t. So if you do that, you get e to the t out here, multiplied by what's left. Looks like everything has a minus, so it's going to be minus cosecant squared of t minus cotangent of t. And that's all divided by e to the 2t. Which of course was e to the t times e to the t. Oops, there's a 2 here. I was already canceling. Because one of those e to the t's here is going to cancel with that e to the t. And so we're just going to be left with minus cosecant squared t minus cotangent t divided by e to the t. Because e to the 2t is e to the t times e to the t. Okay, so that takes care of that one, and that leaves us with the last problem, which was finding the equation of the tangent line. So for the equation of the tangent line, we need the slope and we need a point. Well, they gave us the point. The point is 0, 1. So all we need is the slope, which we can get from the derivative, and the derivative to the curve y equals e to the x. So if y equals e to the x is the curve, which you might remember looks like this. At the point 0, 1, we're going to get a tangent line that's going to look like that. So we better have a line that's going to have a y-intercept of about 1 and a positive slope. Well, the derivative is what gives us the slope of the tangent line. The derivative is e to the x. And we want the slope at that point. Well, this is the slope at every point. So the derivative at the point where x equals 0 is just going to be e to the 0, which is 1. So it tells us that the slope is 1. And then we can just write the equation. So y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value, x minus 0. So it's pretty clear that this is y equals, I don't have to do this, but y equals x plus 1 is obviously the equation of that line. And that's it for quiz 12.